to way back when we played tag and hopscotch with our sidewalk chalk. The fragrant breeze running through the trees, and I'm feeling free, like I wanna be. Such a beautiful day to be alive. Wanna go outside, trying to catch a vibe. I hear children laughing, it reminds me everything will be alright. I want to go back in the day when we all played together. We can make it better. Only love can take us back, 'cause we're all in this together forever.
Christina Filler, look at you.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you. Look at that compound. I love it. I love everything that's happening. There's some nature, some green, some style. We knew you had style from research, but always good to see that the compound lives up to it, you know?
Indeed, indeed. Well, it looks like you've got a good little poster selection behind you as well.
You know, the game of the poster situation in Nashville is more tense than you would think, Christina, you know?
Fierce competition in the poster game.
You know, people will throw comments about it. So anyway, but yeah. So Christina
Yeah.
Filler, you know, if anyone in the music industry doesn't know that name yet, you better. She's a music industry leader in the Pacific Northwest and nationally, director of a pretty awesome music festival, the Waterfront Blues Fest as well. So we're thrilled to have you, Christina.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Also co-owner of Fuller Events, by the way, which, you know, so you do all sorts of events as well. And yeah, everyone says that this music festival, Christina, is a gem. It takes place July 1 through 4th, and tickets available at waterfrontbluesfest.com. Yeah.
It is a gem indeed.
So Christina, you know, let's start with that, because everyone says that, and actually that everyone says that word. I've talked to Michael Antonia, my friends of the War and Treaty, my friend Sarah Tomek, who plays drums with Samantha Fish. Everyone, when you mention, hey, we may cover this festival, their eyes light up, Christina, and they just like, it's not just another festival. It is something that like left a mark in them, and they love every part of it. What is it? What is it that they say the word gem when you mention it, Christina?
There's something magical about the Waterfront Blues Festival, and if I knew the answer, I would probably bottle it up. But it is a festival that this year will be its 36th year. It's built in our community by people that love the festival and love the music and want to make the experience critical, front and center, from the musician experience to the guest experience to the setting in downtown Portland, right on the river. It has this like sprinkle of fairy dust that we've never quite been able to put our finger on it. And the thread that it sort of comes back to is a sense of community that is super unique and I think really critical to independent music festivals in these days. And a really committed tribe of humans that love the music, love the genre, love our city, love the musicians, from legendaries to the next generation, like the Michael Antonias, who are, speaking of gems, they're the gems of music, and Samantha Fish's entire band. There's a lot of special magical moments that have happened at Waterfront Blues Festival, and I don't know the secret, but there is an it factor for sure.
But, and I love that, Christina. I love that answer, but I think you're selling yourself short, because it seems to sound like Fuller Events. I mean, one of the ethos that you guys have is creating problem solving.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, I'm really impressed with people like you that have managed to keep something afloat, and not only afloat, but thriving with all the changes in the music industry in the past half decade. I mean, obviously the pandemic, but also, you know, there's things that maybe people don't know, that there's like a shortage of like truck drivers and inflation and the prices and everything. And yet, Christina, it seems that you've been able to kind of been rolling with the punches, if you will.
Yeah, absolutely. We have, I think the nature of being in the event industry means you have to understand problems, and you have to understand that you need solutions before the problem presents itself. But I think in the last decade, let alone the last half of a decade, the problems are new and different and wildly complex and wildly serious. And frankly, the only way to roll with it is to have fun and be agile. And that has been key to the Waterfront Blues Festival's success, even just over the last few years, that has claimed casualty of a lot of events that didn't make it through. During the pandemic, our team, Fuller Events, put together a socially distanced outdoor music venue in downtown Portland with seating pods and socially distanced, all outdoors. We had 75 shows and kept music alive. Have we ever thought about doing that before? No. Will we probably ever do it again? No. And yet that's what you do, is you figure out what is needed to creatively problem solve. And what keeps us doing it is adding in the element of fun. Why are we doing this? Why is it, how can we make it fun and rewarding selfishly for us? What's in it to really create community, build community, and do a good thing? But it's been a wild ride. And I think anyone in the music industry knows that the landscape is changing. It's changing daily, monthly. And again, as an independent music festival, it's a landscape that keeps us on our toes, that we have to be fiercely competitive in the marketplace and over deliver on what the experience is.
Yeah, absolutely, Christina. And talk to us a little bit about the festival's history. You mentioned that it was that this is the 36th year. I think it was born in 1988. I mean, and everybody and anybody who's anybody in blues has played it. I mean, Greg Allman, Lucinda Williams, Taj Mahal, Gary Clark Jr. The list goes on and on. We're Robert Plant. We could spend 20 minutes just going through names. But like for my audience, especially a lot of them are like in the Southeast. And tell us a little bit about why this festival matters so much for American music blues.
Yeah, I don't know if people think of Portland, Oregon when they think of blues music. And yet for, 3.5 decades, Waterfront Park has been filled with amazing musicians from, all life cycles of their musicianship, whether it's when Gary Clark Jr. played when he's a teenager, or Trombone Shorty played when he was in high school, to this summer having Buddy Guy on his farewell tour. Yeah. And getting folks that are just key hallmarks and legends of the blues genre and beyond, whether it's funk and soul, R&B, Americana roots. And that's also what the festival has done for a long time, is really expand the genre and kind of the interpretation of what that means. But the festival started in 1988, and it has grown into this beloved crown jewel of July 4th weekend in downtown Portland. It always falls on July 4th, the actual day. We have a big old fireworks show, and so the dates kind of move around here and there. And it showcases local and regional talent to a really high degree. It's really important to us. We have a hotbed of music and blues musicians in the Northwest. Again, a lot of them have roots to the South, to the Southeast. And whether it's, we have a ton of New Orleans ties up here in Portland. We've got all sorts of Mardi Gras crews, and we've got all sorts of fun. And so we have a deep thread of love and musicians representing the culture and music. And so I think Portland situates itself as a sleeper hit, but for those that know, a really dynamic and lovely and frankly, a kind of a cutting edge blues music scene. There's folks from Robert Cray and Curtis Salgado that are Oregonians through and through, but folks know them everywhere you may go.
Love it, love it, love it, love it, Christina. You touched on a couple things there that I wanna go deeper. Let's talk about the lineup, since you talked about Buddy Guy. Obviously Buddy Guy, he's farewell tour legend icon. My good pal as well, Amethyst Kia. She's playing. I know I'm blanking on a few. Yeah, sorry, I'm blanking. Help me out. But who are you?
No problem. We are, so as of today, we've announced about half of our lineup. So we'll roll out another 45 folks. So eventually we'll have 75 or so artists that'll play, 100 sets over the course of the week. But we're thrilled to have JJ Gray and Mofro back this year. Corey Wong, any guitar fans. The Mavericks brought down the house the last time they played at the festival, and I think they were one of the groups that folks were introduced to. A lot of folks were new at the festival when they were like, who are these folks? And then became fast fans. Their in-person performance, if you haven't seen them in real life, RL, they are dynamically fun. And so we're super excited. Then we've got Eric Gales, which, folks, any guitar geeks would love. And then again, really, I don't even want to call them up and comers, but they're still not household names, but they should be. Gals like Celise, Sunny War.
Absolutely
Um,
right. Sunny
yeah,
Ward is right there on the up and up.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. There are just the kind of some rising stars that will be more well known than they are even now. So we've
Super
got
exciting.
Curtis Delgado, Rick Aston and the Nightcats, a lot of classic folks, and that's just our initial batch of artists that we've announced.
So when you pick bands, Christina, or when you and the committee pick bands, is it as simple as, man, I would get a kick out of seeing these bands, and then that's it, or is there like a criteria that you kind of go through a little bit?
I wish that it was super easy. Peter Damon, our festival artistic director, has been booking the festival for 30 years. He's also a musician himself, and so he's got great insight into understanding the music. A big part of what we play with is you start with a wish list for sure,
Sure.
and then you work on routing. Who's on the West Coast July 4th weekend? So our dates, we know we have 4 days of availability. We can't have like, we'd love to have Buddy Guy sometime this summer. We know we got 1 or 2 days that have to work with his schedule. So we look at the schedule, look at the routing, see where folks go. And I think another really key component to what we do when we're thinking about building the lineup is truly genre diversity, so that it isn't just straight ahead blues all day, every day. And also just diversity and representation, that we've got the ladies, we've got folks of color, we've got all sorts of nooks and crannies of genres, of music, of background, of culture, to make it really dynamic for 4 days with 4 stages, that it isn't the same thing on every stage where you're like, oh, I've heard this before. People
Right.
won't say that at the blues festival. They'll hear something new that pulls them somewhere new, and then they'll find something new. They're like, oh, I got to go find this. And it kind of drags them around the festival to find a new act or new artist.
Super exciting, Christina. And another great thing about the festival, and we love this with the festivals that we work with, is the ones that have like a higher purpose. You know, the secret to living is giving, if you will, right? And you know, you guys, I mean, Blues Fest cares since 1988.
Yeah.
You guys have been feeding millions of people. If you don't mind touching on that a little bit, because I think that's super cool.
Yeah, I think, I mean, similar when we started this conversation, community is at the heart and soul of this festival. It's built the community, it's for the community, it's sort of the people's festival. And that giving back and taking care and being aware of our neighbors is critically important. We, in 2023, will continue a partnership with 2 primary community partners, Meals on Wheels People, which delivers food and connection to homebound seniors. And that truly is feeding and nourishing our neighbors. And they're an amazing organization here in town. And we're also partnering with the Jeremy Wilson Foundation. And they're a young nonprofit founded by a musician himself. And they provide support for music industry personnel and musicians during time of need and medical hardship. And a lot of musicians are uninsured or underinsured, and a heart attack can be a major setback, you know, or things like that where you just can't navigate. And they're providing resources to navigate that for musicians in our community. And musicians are our festival. Without, I mean, you don't want to see me on stage. I can't play a guitar, I can't sing. And without our musicians, you know, it's a pretty flat festival. And so both organizations are just really doing the work day in and day out in our neighborhood, in our state, to take care of our community members. And like you said, it makes our work more meaningful in addition to having it be an amazing music festival. It's really important too.
Love it, Christina. You're being so good with your time. Thank you. But I want to ask you a question, because you're like a cool music chick. Like, what was like? I can just tell. I you know, I've been around. What is a concert that little Christina Fuller, you know, when you were running around, changed your life, that like just put you in this music trajectory? There's no wrong answer.
Well, no, and you know, the first concert that really resonated had to do with 2 things. Well, a couple things: who I was with and where I was, and then the musician was sort of like the icing on top. I went with my dad, and I think that there's so many shared moments and multi-generational moments with family, and music does that. So you can like it with your kids, your spouse, your parents, your neighbors. Music crosses all boundaries. So I was with my dad, and I was at the Gorge Amphitheater in Washington, which is this beautiful, iconic setting.
Beautiful.
For folks that haven't been there. I mean, there's a documentary about it. It's an epic place. And I was seeing Shania Twain, and that was just this moment of country music. I grew up listening to a lot of country, a lot of old country, and my dad and I would listen to Ernest Tubb all day long, and then we
Awesome.
go and we go to the gorge. I'm with my dad, and it's this beautiful setting, country music. It was
Wow.
a pretty special concert moment that I won't ever forget.
Amazing. And she's making a comeback, Shania.
I know.
Big time.
She's totally come back.
Well, Christina Filler, I mean, what can we say? We're super pumped to go, and waterfrontbluesfest.com, super affordable tickets. You can find 4-day GA for $120.
Yeah.
Fun for the whole family, fireworks. Christina, thank you so much for your time. Really appreciate it.
Thank you so much.
Absolutely. Take care.
Take care. Bye-bye.